A burst pipe? A dead water heater? The AC calling it quits? Who do you call? HomeServe is an easy way to handle unexpected home repairs with plans covering stuff basic homeowners insurance usually won't. Instead of scrambling for a contractor, you make one call to get the repair process started. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe right now. Go to homeserve.com/podcast for 50% less your first year. That's homeserve.com/podcast. Savings compared to renewal price. Void in Florida.
This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Trump struck an optimistic tone while touting the U.S.-Iran peace deal, even as daunting questions remain about fighting in Lebanon and the future of Iran's nuclear program. Von Concain and Tom Howell report Trump said at the Group of Seven meetings in France that he signed the Memorandum of Understanding late Sunday to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and set the table for limiting Iran's nuclear program. Delegations from both nations intend to travel to Geneva on Friday for the official signing ceremony of the agreement. The exact terms of the memorandum haven't been released, but the deal establishes a firm ceasefire and sets a 60-day timeline for negotiators to deal with more complex issues. Critics of the war have argued the president exited the war too soon, and that any agreement that provides sanctions relief in exchange for enrichment limits isn't much better than the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal. The Air Force has lost nearly a third of its available fleet of Reaper drones in the Middle East since the start of the Trump administration. Congressional, military, and defense industry officials tell R. John Seward there's no active production line to build more, nor have the Pentagon and Congress produced a funded plan to replace them. The Reaper, made famous during the post-9/11 war on terror, has played a central role in the U.S. military campaign against Iran. A combination of new munitions, Iranian anti-aircraft missiles, and even Iran's recent attacks on U.S. bases have whittled away at the Reaper fleet. Washington, D.C. residents will head to the polls to select a lineup of mayoral and congressional leaders as the nation's capital grapples with declining revenue and increased federal oversight. Matt Delaney reports the primary election serves as the decisive vote among the district's heavily Democratic electorate. The mayoral contest has drawn the most attention because of the competing visions of the top two contenders and because of what the result could mean for the city's relationship with the White House. Former D.C. Council member Kenya McDuffie, who's positioned himself as the business-friendly law and order candidate, squares off against D.C. Council member Janess Lewis George, a self-described Democratic socialist who leads comfortably in the most recent polls. Three-term Mayor Muriel Bowser and longtime congressional delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton opted not to run for re-election. Prison inmates are posting on social media with the help of friends on the outside, hoping to influence their public image, raise money to challenge their convictions, or in some cases, seek clemency from the president. Susan Faricia reports Jodi Arias, who is serving life without parole for stabbing and shooting her ex-boyfriend to death, posts photos and musings on her Substack account, which has hundreds of subscribers. Elizabeth Holmes, convicted in 2022 of defrauding investors through her now-defunct Theranos health technology company, defends her reputation with frequent posts on social media. Prisoners aren't permitted to post directly on social media, as cell phones are banned and prisoners have been punished for possessing contraband phones. Instead, inmates' messages must be relayed via telephone or in writing to people on the outside who serve as their social media proxies. And finally, markets in Seoul and Tokyo have surged on news of the potential end of the Iran war. Andrew Salmon reports Japan's Nikkei 225 jumped by 5%, and South Korea's Kospi closed up 5.2%. The Kospi's current volatility has surged following the election of new South Korean President Lee Jae-myung a year ago. The market recently tested record highs in the 8,800 point range, and the index is also outpacing overseas competitors in dollar value. Since Lee entered office, the Kospi has overtaken the main stock indexes of Britain, Canada, and India. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.